Hello friends, welcome back. In this video, we shall do something very interesting. I'll teach you how we can place sprites in patterns of the type that I've shown on my screen. For instance, like a triangular pattern, upward, downwards, and so on and so forth, right? Now, for this purpose, we will start with a code that we have done previously, and I've done a video on this as well, where we learned how we use two loops, two repeated loops to place sprites in a grid, right? So what do we have in this code? Let's look at it carefully. What I've done here is to take a dark backdrop and a very bright sprite that I created so that it creates a contrast. Now I have got here a loop, a piece of code where the crux is I have two loops, repeat columns, repeat rows. So I'm setting these in 10 rows and 10 columns. Basically, the sprite gets drawn, if I run this code, I draw row by row 10 rows. So the inner loop here draws sprites in a row, and the outer loop here, which is repeat rows, is drawing out the 10 rows, right? And in between, of course, I must reset the X and I must change the Y, right? So I've given a detailed video on this particular loop, this particular code elsewhere. You can take a look at that, right? And in fact, I recommend you get quite comfortable with just the operation of this loop before you move forward, right? Now, let's say I introduce a new variable in this code called, let me just make a variable called items in row, right? So what I want to do with this particular variable is to be able to control how many things I have on one row. Like in this case, right now we have 10 sprites on every row, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? But I want to control how many sprites I get there. So for example, let's say I want to get one sprite in the first row, two sprites in second row, three sprites in the third row, and so on and so forth, right? So I've created a variable called items in row. And what I'll do is that I will first, in the beginning, I will set this set column, set rows, fine, because I want a 10 by 10 grid. Basically, I'm going to set this items in row to 1. All right. So which means it will get initialized to this value of 1. Now here I want in every row, I want, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, that many items. So instead of repeating for columns, I'm going to say repeat for items in rows, right? And I must, once I finish one row, I must increase items in row so that the second row can have more items, right? So I'm going to say change. Notice this is outside the first loop. So first loop is just here, repeat items in row. I'm now going to say change items in row by 1, right? So what will happen in this code is we expect that the first row, because items in row is 1, first row will have only one sprite. Then as it goes through this, second row items in row will become 2, second row will have 2 sprites, and so on and so forth. So let's see if I run this, what happens, right? Exactly what we had thought, right? So now we have been able to place sprites in this way, and you can imagine that you can use this in the brick breaking game, right? Now, why did this code work the way it did? Because remember, I'm using a variable called items in row. I initialize it to 1, right? And then I keep increasing it by 1 every time I finish one row, right? And this row, I'm, instead of repeating for columns, I am repeating for items in a row, right? Now, if you want to get more comfortable with this, what I suggest is switch on this variable, that means look at its value and add a small weight, maybe here, right? So increase this, and now you can see how it goes, right? So, as the code is slowly running, you can see every time it's putting 5 items, 6 items, 7 items, and so on and so forth. So this will help you get more familiar with the process, right? But you really don't need this weight if you're confident enough. And I can go and remove this items in a row, right? So now it's doing this, right? Now let's say I will modify this code even more to make sure that to get a different effect where, let's say I want 10 sprites on the first row, 9 on the second row, 8 on the third row, and so on and so forth, right? So It's kind of like a mirror image across the horizontal line of this thing, right? It's quite simple actually to do so, because remember here I'm setting items in row to 1, right? And then I'm repeating items in row, right? And then increasing items in row, right? Let's say I reverse the process, right? So say I said set items in row to columns, right? So if I set items in row to columns, it's going to set it to 10 in this case. And now instead of increasing, I'll say I'll decrease, right? So what will happen is the first row will have 10 items, and then I would have reduced, so 9, then again I would have reduced to 8, 7, 6, and so on. So when I click this, let's see what I get, right? So I get, and why is this happening? Because remember, I'm setting this variable items in row to columns, which means to 10 in this case. Hence, the first row is fully occupied. Second row has 9. Third row has 8, 7, 6, 4, and so on and so forth, right? Now, one thing is, in whatever pattern we have created so far, right? These are very interesting patterns. Definitely the brick breaker game benefits from these, right? You could potentially put, for example, a combination of these patterns to create different things, right? Now notice that in the first pattern as well as in the second pattern, my starting x is not changing, right? Now let's say I want to retain the same structure, right? Same structure, which means I have 10 10 sprites on top, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, so on and so forth. However, I want these 9 to start from slightly offset this thing, right? So I want this to kind of look like a lower triangle, right? I mean, sort of like an upper triangle. Right now it's looking on the left side. Say I wanted to go on the right side here, right? So how do I do that? So go back to this code, right? Go back to this code. Notice what's going on. Go back to sort of understanding this code, right? Remember, every time I finish the inner loop, I would have finished one row. Then I'm coming back to x of minus 205, right? Which is basically this brick, right? Now, instead of coming back to minus 205, let's say I could come back to a slightly offset position, right? For every row, I offset a little bit more. Then I can ensure that these bricks get placed in a different way, right? So for doing this, I'm going to introduce a new variable called, to create a new variable called, let's say, row index, right? So row index is going to keep track of which row I am in right now, right? So notice my rows go from one first row, second row, third row, so on and so forth. So what I do is I set row index to 0, yeah, and you will understand why I do so. All right, now instead of sending my x to minus 205, right? Actually, it turns out in this particular case, it doesn't matter. I can set it to minus 205, but in general, I can change this set of x to minus 205 to a little bit of a formula, right? So I go to an operator. Let me put this together and I'll explain to you why I'm doing this, right? So I'm saying that instead of minus 205, I say minus 205 plus 45 times the 45 multiplied by row index, right? So let's see why that is so and what it does, right? So let's say I go and say, where is the variable? Row index, right? So notice I have set my row index to 0. I have put 45 times row index because the separation of every time basically these sprites are changing by x of 45. So what I want really is that whenever row index increases by 1, my starting position also shifts right by 45 points, right? So now because my row index is set to 0 in the beginning, if I take this code and I put it here, right, what will happen is the first brick will come exactly where it was, because remember 45 times row index is 0, right? However, if I can keep track of the row index now, right, after finishing one row, let's say, if I increase the row index by 1 and I again set my x to this value, then when it comes back, when the sprite comes back, which is this statement, instead of going to 205, minus 205, it will go to minus 205 plus 45, right? So what I'm saying is, see this carefully. Let's say I say change row index by 1, right? Which means I've finished. Now notice I've done this outside the inner loop. Okay, be very careful on this. This is the whole crux of this this loop, right? So this thing creates one row of sprites. How many number items in a row? Now I'm saying after doing so, increase row index by 1 and come back to, let's say, let me see if I can duplicate this right away. Yep, great. So come back to minus 205, which was the starting point, plus 45 times the row index, right? So what it means is, why 45 by the way? Because I'm always changing x by 45, right? So after finishing one row, which is row index of 0, my row index will become 1, right? And instead of coming back all the way to 200 minus 205, I will come back to minus 205 plus 45, which means I'll come back here and I'll draw this brick, right? But since I'm drawing 9 bricks, it's going to draw bricks from here all the way to here. Next, when I come back, again, I would have increased row index by 1, which means row index will be 2. So instead of coming back to minus 205, I will come back to this point. And since I'm going to draw 8 bricks, it's going to appear like an inverted triangle. Let's see, convince ourselves, right? This is what happens. Now, again, I urge you to go slow with this, pause this as many times as you want, do this yourself, put some wait statements to be sure that you are understanding this, because this, I'm really getting into the logic of programming here, right? Now, let's do one more pattern, which is even more involved, right? Now, let's say, you remember the first pattern, it was like a triangle, right? Now, let's say I like a triangle with a lower, 1 here, then 2 here, 3 here, 4 here, so on and so forth. Now, let's say I want to do the same thing again, right? I want to make it starting from 1 and increasing number of items, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. But I want 1 to appear here, then these 2, then these 3, then these 4, and so on and so forth, which means I want the x value to also change, right? So what I'll do is, I will first thing replace items in row back to 1, right? For that pattern, I will remember here I was decrementing items in row, so I'll make it back to 1. So this will ensure that in first row I get 1 item, in second row I get 2 items, in third row I get 3 items, and so on and so forth. Now is a little bit more tricky, right? But let me just try to explain to you what I'll do here. I'll remove this row index and I'll replace it with another operator called another minus operator, which is columns minus row index, right? Let's see why that works, right? I'll make it columns minus row index, right? So, all right. And furthermore, I will change this row index to 1, right? Now, please spend time thinking about this. We are really using the logic now quite intensively here. What we are doing is that for the first row, right? Remember, for the first row, I want my brick to be built somewhere here, right? So which means my x should be far away, right? Now, as my row index keeps increasing, I want the x to keep on coming to the left side, right? Because I have 1 item here, I have 2 items here, and so on and so forth. So I should change the starting point little by little as the row index is increasing, and I want it to move left, right? That's why I have columns minus row index, right? And I'll do the same thing on this one, and we'll see. Do it slowly. Operators can get a little bit messy sometimes, but if you do slowly, you'll get it correct, right? So I'll say variables, columns minus, let's do it very, very carefully. So I've got this here. Columns minus the row index. I hope I've got it correct. Yeah. So what will happen is, let's say we start with row index of 1. In this case, notice I've made it 1. The reason is because I really want this guy to appear at minus 205 plus 9 times 45, right? 9, okay, not 10. Convince yourself it's 9 because I am making 9 jumps, right? So 9 times 45. So first one will get generated here. Once this is generated, remember item in rows is 1, so only 1 will get generated, right? Next, I will come back to minus 245 plus 45 times columns minus row index. But since I would have increased the row index by 1, right, I would basically come back to this point, right? So columns minus row index will become 8. So it's as though I've taken 8 jumps from here. I would come back to this point, and then I would place 2 items, and again I'm incrementing the number of items. So let's see if this works. Perfect, right? So I get a totally different pattern, right? So the point here that I'm trying to sort of highlight is that when you are building, let's say, a brick breaker game, right? Now There are, obviously you can start with the most basic thing, which you place the bricks in a grid. That's fine, right? However, with just this simple loop and using a little bit of programming and logic, you can create so many patterns, right? In fact, the possibilities are many, many more. However, I'll let you digest this, convince yourself that this all works, and play with this yourself so that you get comfortable. I urge you to go slow with this. Try to draw on a piece of paper what you're trying to get at, but slowly you will get the idea, right? So I hope you enjoyed this. Take care. Bye bye.